In a bustling city filled with noise, constant chatter, and competition, there lived a man named Arjun. He had big dreams, dreams that everyone could see, but not everyone believed. Arjun was the type of person who talked about his goals often. He shared his plans, his ambitions, his vision with anyone who would listen. "I'm going to make it big," he would say, sitting in cafes with friends and even strangers he met in passing. "I have this idea. I know exactly how it's going to work." But despite all the talk, Arjun's dreams never seemed to move forward. He spent hours planning, explaining, convincing others of his potential. Yet months went by without any real action. The more he spoke, the less he did. One day, while sitting in a park, frustrated with his lack of progress, an older man sitting nearby overheard his conversation. He had been quietly observing Arjun for a while. "You speak a lot," the man said. "But what have you done?" Arjun was taken aback. "What do you mean?" The older man smiled. "You see, success isn't measured by the words you speak. It's measured by the actions you take. The work you put in when no one is watching. The quiet moments when you're alone, moving forward with purpose." Arjun felt a wave of shame wash over him. He had always been talking, but when it came to real work, actual progress, he had been waiting for the perfect moment, for the perfect plan, for the perfect opportunity. "Speak less, do more," the man continued. "Don't waste your energy talking about what you will do. Let your actions speak louder than your words." The man stood up and walked away, leaving Arjun alone with his thoughts. The next morning, Arjun woke up with a different mindset. He had spent the entire night thinking about the old man's words. Speak less, do more. He realized he had been caught in a cycle of talking about his dreams, telling people what he was going to do, but never actually taking the steps to make it happen. It was like building a house without laying a single brick. This time he was determined to change it. No more explaining, no more waiting for the perfect moment. He would take one small step, one action, and that was the beginning. Arjun spent the whole day working on his idea, not on the perfect pitch, not on a fancy presentation. He worked on the core of the idea, making the first moves. He wrote down a plan, made calls, and reached out to potential partners. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't fancy, but it was real. By the end of the day, he had something tangible, something he could hold in his hands. It wasn't a finished product, it wasn't success yet, but it was progress. And for the first time in months, Arjun felt like he was moving forward, not because he was talking about it, but because he was doing it. The next week, Arjun kept his focus on the work, not the words. He didn't share every detail with his friends. He didn't try to impress anyone with grand plans. He just showed up, did the work, and let the results speak for themselves. And one by one, things began to happen. Doors started to open, opportunities appeared, not because he had talked about them, but because he had done the work. As the days passed, Arjun's approach to life began to shift completely. He didn't waste time convincing people of his potential anymore. Instead, he focused on building the foundation, brick by brick, even if no one was watching. His routine became a quiet commitment. Every morning, he woke up early and worked on his project. Even when the progress seemed slow, even when doubt whispered, he kept going. And slowly, his work began to take shape. One afternoon, he met an old friend at a cafe. His friend, who had always been a dreamer like Arjun, was still talking about plans. He spoke with passion about everything he wanted to do, but Arjun noticed something different in himself now. Instead of sharing his own plans, he simply listened. He realized that action spoke louder than words, and the success he had been seeking wasn't about telling people what he was going to do. It was about showing them through his work. His friend asked, "So, what's been going on with you? You've been quiet lately? No big announcements?" Arjun smiled, taking a sip of his coffee. "I've been busy," he said, "doing the work. No more talking, just building." His friend was taken aback. "You're really doing it?" "Yeah," Arjun nodded. "I'm letting the work speak for itself." It wasn't an overnight transformation. It wasn't glamorous. But Arjun was doing what mattered, acting, even when no one was watching. Slowly, he started to feel the power of consistency and the quiet satisfaction of progress. That evening, after a long day of work, he sat at his desk and looked at everything he had done. He realized that success wasn't just about big moments or grand plans. It was about the small, consistent actions that build up over time. Arjun understood now. Success wasn't about telling the world what you weigh. One evening, as Arjun sat in his small workspace, surrounded by papers, notes, and sketches of his project, he paused. It was quiet, just the sound of his pen scratching paper and the hum of his laptop. He looked at the work he'd done over the past month. Nothing extravagant, just consistent, steady effort. And for the first time in a long while, he felt proud. He thought back to where he'd started, talking about dreams, hoping for a breakthrough, waiting for the right moment. But the real breakthrough hadn't come when he spoke about it. It had come when he simply did. Arjun's business wasn't booming yet. He hadn't reached his ultimate goal, but every small task he completed, every call he made, every idea he implemented was a step forward, and that was enough. The following week, he got an unexpected message from an old mentor who had heard about his progress. "I've been watching you," the message read. "I'm impressed. I remember when you used to talk about your dreams, but now I see you building them." Arjun smiled to himself. No flashy announcement, no big speeches, just quiet action. That was the power. And he realized then that success wasn't just about achieving the goal, it was about the quiet discipline in every single step. His thoughts shifted. The world around him still moved quickly, still celebrated loud victories and grandiose plans. But Arjun understood something now that most people missed. Success isn't loud. It's not about the things you say, but about the things you do when no one's watching. And it wasn't just about achieving success. It was about becoming someone who had the quiet strength to stay in the game, to keep moving forward, even when the world was distracted. A few months passed and Arjun's life had changed in ways he could have never imagined. He wasn't the loudest in the room anymore. He wasn't the one making big announcements or boasting about his next big idea. He was the one quietly working, steadily building, and letting his actions speak louder than his words. His business was growing, slowly but surely. The little steps he had taken, the ones that seemed insignificant at first, were now adding up to something real. He had his first clients. His small team started to grow. And more importantly, he was no longer worried about the opinions of others. He had learned to let his work shine on its own. One day, while going over some numbers, Arjun received a call from an old friend. The same friend who used to talk endlessly about big plans, but never took action. The conversation started with a casual hello, but then his friend asked him the question Arjun had been waiting for. "How did you do it? How did you make it happen?" For a moment, Arjun paused. He thought about all the nights spent working late, the times when things didn't go according to plan, the times when his mind tried to convince him to quit. But he didn't quit. He kept moving step by step, and that was the secret. He took a deep breath and answered, "I stopped talking about what I was going to do. I just started doing it." It wasn't a magic formula. It wasn't a grand speech. It was simple. Speak less, do more. His friend was silent for a moment, probably processing the weight of Arjun's words. Then he said, "I think I've been talking too much and doing too little." Arjun smiled. "We all do. But the change happens when we choose to act, even when it's small. That's how success is built." As the conversation ended, Arjun felt a sense of peace settle over him. It wasn't about the goal anymore. It wasn't about winning or losing. It was about the process, the quiet, consistent work that built the foundation of everything he had now. And most importantly, he realized that success wasn't about impressing others with words or ideas. It was about impressing yourself with the work you've done. As the years passed, Arjun's life had transformed. What started as small, steady actions had turned into a thriving business, a team of passionate individuals, and a sense of purpose that filled him with pride. But the most significant shift wasn't in the success he had achieved. It was in the way he saw success itself. Arjun had learned that true success wasn't about recognition. It wasn't about the loudest voices or the biggest celebrations. It wasn't about what others thought of you. It was about showing up every single day, even when the results weren't immediate, even when no one was watching. He had stopped comparing himself to others. He no longer cared about proving anything. The work was enough, the quiet dedication was enough, and most of all, he had learned that success was a journey, not a destination. One evening, as he sat in his office, reflecting on how far he had come, his phone buzzed. It was a message from his old friend, the one who had once asked him how he had made it happen. The message read, "I just wanted to thank you. I've started doing more and talking less. It's not easy, but it's working."